Welcome to the Behind the Art Inspiration podcast, a sneak peek into the studio practices of all types of artists. Conversations for artists and fans of art who are sophisticated and savvy. I'm your host, Caroline Karp. Let's get to it. Well, hello, everyone. This is episode number 17 of the Behind the Art Inspiration podcast. In this episode, I'll be virtually traveling from my Safety Harbor, Florida studio north to New Jersey and into the studio of Argentinian artist Guillermo Bublik. And I hope I said that correctly.
That's fine.
He is fascinated by the interplay of purpose and chance. He intentionally creates chances for unexpected mixing of colors and bleeding of paint to be forced to incorporate these effects into the whole. He believes that oops moments can be the source of great art. Well, hello, Guillermo.
Hello. Good afternoon to the East Coast, good morning to the West Coast, and whatever it is to other continents.
Yeah, I can't believe what a beautiful studio. So I know you're just moving in.
Yes,
right?
yes, I'm really happy with my new studio. It is actually a step up from my old studio in a very old building in Chicago.
Mm-hmm. And so this one is in New Jersey.
Yes, it's in Jersey City, so you can actually see part of the Manhattan skyline when you walk out.
So I have painted the scene from the Chelsea High Line looking across at New Jersey. So are you looking the opposite direction?
Well, right, the studio looks south, but we're just across the Hudson from Manhattan. So, you could just see, you walk a couple of blocks towards the river, and you can see the skyline, and it's beautiful at night.
Now, when I was introducing you, the way that you wrote it was the way that you wrote it, but the way that I say it is happy accidents, right? Of what happens in your work. And we were talking about that right before we went live. Right. So I want you to continue with all that.
Yes. So let me just show you one of the paintings that exemplifies sort of what I see as.
Yeah, and we're moving around his studio, so that's why you have all that noise. Okay, tell us about that one.
Right. So in this one, this is China ink or India ink, some people call it, on paper. What I was describing to Caroline before is that I was just playing around with different dilutions of the ink in plain water, and creating all these lines, just tilting the paper, sometimes using a hairdryer. And when I was done, I looked at it from a distance, and I noticed the human figure on top of it. And I was saying that human figure is actually, or was, 100% unintentional. But it sort of made me think, well, I can do something similar and make it intentional, for the human figure, but show the same sort of mood or feeling of this painting. And actually, I did a 6-painting series. It's called Roots, because I just looked at this and it suggested the roots of the human being.
Mm-hmm.
You can call it the community or whatever, family. So I created, two of the other paintings in that series. This is, I think it's the 4th in the series. I created the sort of the top of human head, but by purpose, on purpose, not by chance. But the rest is the same idea. The rest of the painting is just making or forcing the ink to flow freely, again with the help of gravity and tilting the paper, and again, trying to make it look like roots as well. And the third one, well, I think this is number 4 in the series. The blue one is number 5. This also, it's the same idea. I created the top of, what to me is a lady, and created the roots again by applying. These are 7 or 8 different layers of liquid watercolor and gesso, and I just wanted to create this as suggesting a lady being created from ashes or mud or some natural process, sort of a lady being given birth. So that's what I was describing to Caroline as happy accidents. I love wine, and wine was created by accident, right? Somebody left grapes in the sun for too long, and they fermented, and voila, we have wine. So this is the same idea. And another one I was showing Caroline before we went live. Again, you have to excuse my inexperience with the camera. Is this one? It sort of suggests 4 human figures, and it has a lot of dripping. And again, the dripping was, dripping is in many of my works. And again, I just try to sort of have it as controlled chaos. Let it sort of go its own way, but when it goes, too far in some direction, sort of forcing it to go back to where I want it to be. And the accident for this one was that, I thought that I would never use metallic paint, but there was a spill in my studio, and, I saw some metallic paint, and I actually liked it. And I said, why be so prejudiced against those colors? So I started painting for a whole month. I was totally in love with metallic silver, gold, and copper or bronze. So that also gave rise to a series. So and I sort of think that it's always when one is forced to adapt to something unexpected is when we create some, when people are at their most creative phases, where you have to, I have to make this work. I have to find a way which I hadn't thought of before to take advantage of something that I did not intend. Sometimes, when we intend and we over design a painting, it may, end up being sort of stilted or just too forced and not natural at all. So, I just love the idea of the mingling or intermingling of chance and purpose.
And you were talking about also that you went to Home Depot when you bought panels.
Right. Yeah. The last one, the 4 human figures, is on a board panel, and that actually happened in a way by accident. I ended up. The first paintings you saw, it's paper, but then I glued paper to a thin wood panel, and then in my building in Chicago, there's a wood shop, and I had someone frame them. And he ended up with a lot of extra wood that was unused. So I said, well, why? I'm not going to throw it away. I'm going to, play around with things. And that's when the spill happened on wood. And then I said, oh, okay. I like working with wood. I had never painting on wood panels before. I liked how, the drips work, paint drips on the panels. So yeah, I ended up being a good client of Home Depot and buying a lot of. I actually used to go I met the guy in charge of the lumber department, because they have to cut for custom orders. They end up with a lot of scrap wood. So I just ended up at the end of the week going there and just, he would say, just take it. I mean, we're going to throw it away. So I ended up with a lot of wood panels that I used in the series of copper, silver, and gold human figures.
So that studio space, are you going to have exhibitions in there?
I think so. I think that when COVID is behind us, I think that the building has open houses a few times a year, and I will be able. I mean, I have a lot of wall space. I mean, it's about 900 square feet, and I'm going to look for someone who can help me build, those walls on wheels that one can just sort of move around and create enclosed spaces inside the studio, so I can hang more art. And yes, I mean, I would try to have some shows here.
Maybe that's where we need to have one of our international online art collective shows.
That actually is another possibility. Yes,
Yeah.
and it's that's a great idea, actually.
Well, I'm looking at that space and I'm thinking it's perfect.
Yeah, actually, it's a great idea. I love the idea. Yeah. That can be done. Yes. Now you're getting me excited.
Yeah. So we could all come there and hang our work and have a party.
I'm all down for it.
Is there anything else that you want to tell us about your artwork? Actually, I have a question. Do you have a jar of India ink around you, or is it...
You know what? I finished the last one, and I haven't been to the art supply store to get one. But they're big bottles, usually 32-ounce bottles. But no, I don't.
You don't
I
have
mean,
any right now?
they're pretty big. I mean, they're which is part of the fun. Part of the fun, because you sort of pour that big thing onto paper, and then you start moving it around. I mean, it's very physical, and it's in some sense you feel that you're physically involved and inside the process.
And I'm assuming you're using a very absorbent paper?
Yes, yeah. It's mixed media paper. It's I use either I think it's sorry if there's someone hanging pictures next door. I think it's 140 pound per square paper, and sometimes I use 300-pound paper. So they're pretty thick, and they come in 10-yard rolls.
Ah, yeah.
And it's also fun because it's very hard to make it straight, because it's sort of, you have to make it curve opposite to how it was.
Yes.
It was shipped. That's also quite. I came up with a way of using the Encyclopedia Britannica for that. I mean, I sort of use that. Big tomes as weights to straighten the paper.
I know one time I had a really large sheet, and I painted it with water first, and then flipped it over and put stuff all on top of it just to get it straight.
Yeah. Some people suggest sort of using water as an aid to make the refolding, if you will, in the other direction easier. It does make it easier. Again, I was learning. I had never worked with such a large sheet of paper, so I was, and sometimes sort of start doing things before doing enough Google research. So I was not aware of that technique for making it easier. So I just went ahead. I just got so excited with such a big roll of paper that I just had to start working on it. But what you're saying, Caroline, is true that that helps the straightening of the paper a lot.
Because that paper can be strong. Like it can just go right back into
Yes.
its roll.
Oh yeah, and it did that a few times, and it's very frustrating. I mean, you think that you're almost there, and you have a 1 second lapse, and an hour of patient work is gone. It's sort of ruined. Yeah, that's true.
Now, is there anything else you want to show us or tell us before we?
Well, no, because I mean, it's as you can see, it's still a mess. I mean, I finished unpacking a few days ago, so there's still a lot of things. I mean, I don't have much stuff on the walls yet, but I just, maybe next time we speak, I can show more. I mean, I have a couple of things on the wall here. Let's see if I can show you those. That's, I mean, the bottom one actually is part of the series of sort of accidental human forms. Obviously, there's no accidental anything about it. I mean, everything was done on purpose. But again, it was done again with the previously unloved colors of mine, copper, gold, and silver. And what I did, this is also a wood panel. It's actually 2 inches thick, and it's coarse gesso. And what I did is I applied a few coats of liquid watercolors, and then I covered everything with black, and then I did the human figure, and then I sort of used water to make the underlying watercolor react to it, so you can see, some blues, some purple there, some greens and yellows there. I mean, I sort of like the effect that has of some mystery behind the figure. And then this one actually is from a ways back, but it's also just playing around with chance. For example, I mean, it's the same coarse gesso wood panel, 2 inches thick, and this, for example, was a big blob of liquid yellow and gold watercolor that I poured and let it sort of drip this way with aid of gravity. And I don't know whether it can be appreciated with the camera focused on it, but here inside and again, that was chance, there's something suggestive of a skyline of the
I see it.
Yeah. So I love sort of the idea of having, the city inside a bubble there. But again, it's another example of sort of chance given rise to birth to. Of course, with abstract art, different people see different things, which is part of the beauty too. That that you make the audience or the viewers do some work, and you're not forcing them to see exactly what you would like them to see. So there's some freedom involved there. Actually, there's another one here on the wall, and again, this is just copper.
So it's shiny. We can't see it shiny here, but
Yeah,
I'm sure it's
right, but it is shiny, yes.
yeah.
And again, just a couple of human figures. This was uh, sort of forced chance. I mean, as you can see, there's something suggestive of arms. Well, as I was sort of letting the paint uh, just go flow wherever it wanted, but if it was flowing uh, too much in a direction that I wasn't happy with, I would sort of quickly tilt the panel to make it come back
Mhm.
to um, to where I wanted it to flow. And it's interesting that after a while you get quite adept at making it go where you want it to go. You're sort of using gravity uh, to your own advantage and not just letting things be 100% chance.
Mm-hmm.
So there's another one here on the floor.
Oh, yeah.
Um, that again the background again this is a wood panel. The background is just letting I used liquid watercolors of different hues of blue
Mm-hmm.
and let them sort of mix uh, somewhat by chance and not sort of forcing them to do exactly what I wanted. But then what I did is with enamel, I sort of uh, drew. I don't know. I see a human figure, something
Yes, I do too.
different, but that is actually painstakingly drawn by hand. There's no chance there at all. And it's actually three layers of three coats of enamel because one coat was not bright enough. So that's
So Guillermo,
for
your section has left. Uh-oh.
but I think
I don't know if you can
the
hear.
rest is still randomly. Yeah, it's going to take a while for me to organize the studio. Also, it's a lot
Okay, so
bigger than the one I
yeah,
have. So you need to organize it.
so we lost your signal because I can barely hear you.
Sorry, I
Yeah,
really cut
can
off.
you hear me? So okay, I think what I'm going to do is just hold on 1 minute. I'm going to mute you.
Okay. Yeah.
I think I muted him. Okay, so I'm going to say he's still talking, but I'm going to say I'm going to mention. Thank you so much, everyone, for watching and listening as I share and as Guillermo shares. In March of 2020, I had a vision of starting the International Online Art Collective, which is a diverse group of artists from around the world who value the power of art to inspire, provoke, and heal. And the power of this group is in connection, just like we're having right here. And from this, a podcast was born, first interviewing these artists and then branching out to all different types of artists. And I see that we lost Guillermo, but I'll go ahead and finish by saying thank you to him for being here. And it's been so wonderful. And I just want to mention that I just had my show called Sail, Souls, and Sparkles, where I had a nice community of people come, and I had a curator, Jennifer Pazienza, and we walked through, and I was able to speak about my artwork, and Jennifer spoke about my artwork, and that is available. There's a link in my bio to find out how to see that show, or I can do a self-curated where I take you through the gallery myself. It's all virtual. But thanks again for tuning in, and sorry we lost Guillermo right there at the last minute. he must have had a bad connection, but thanks again for being here. Bye.